What's the most important piece of advice for young swimmers?
Tough journey, as you know, being a swimmer. It's not easy. For me, the biggest things is your technique and your skills. Sometimes if I get an athlete and they're 21 years old and they've been doing it the wrong way for 10 years, I just can't change it. I just can't change it. Whether that's a push-off, whether it's a turn, whether it's a stroke or a drill, I just can't change it because you've been doing it for 10 years. And I think all of them little skills, all of the time that the coach tells you to be streamlined, enter with soft hands, you know, all of them little things, if you don't get right now, you'll have that for the rest of your swimming career. You'll not be able to change it. So I would say, you know, when you're given the skills and the drills to work on, you have to really try hard at them. Otherwise, you'll have the little faults all the way. And the other thing is you need a real good endurance base. You need that engine. And not everybody will go on to do 400s and 800s and 15s. But that age group from probably 8 to about 14, everybody, even if you're going to be a sprinter, needs the endurance base behind them. And then you can go on to other things when you're 16, 18 years old. You might become a 50 freestyler or a 50 fly swimmer or a 100 breaststroker. But you need the endurance base. You need to do the hard work and the long meters and the, you know, the 6 400s and the 16 200s. You need that sort of work as well as all the technical skills. And then you can decide later on where you go and what event you do. But really don't miss out on that. It's vital.
But the sprinters weren't always training sprints when they were 12. I mean, you can't specialise too early, can you?
You know, the Mark Foster example was great. And that's a great story. I tell that story. You know, he won the 1500 metres and then he went on to being a world record holder at 50. And he didn't really specialise in the sprint till he was over 18. And I think just don't get too caught up. You might be a 13-year-old girl doing a 200 back now. You might end up being a 100-metre freestyler as you get older. I've got that problem. Well, it's not a problem. Siobhan Marie O'Connor, she's good at all strokes. And, you know, we went down the 200 freestyle route a little bit, and this year that hasn't gone too well. The 100 fly is an option. She goes 57. But also the 100 free, she's starting to go 53. And she's nearly 20 now, and she's still, we're not sure where it might go with her, even 1 year to Rio or 5 years till Tokyo.
A lot of the coaches we talk to prefer the system where it's age at the end of the year rather than age on the day. What's your view of age on the day versus age at the end of the year?
Yeah. It might be a little bit unfair when you're 13 or 14, but it'll all unravel for being a senior athlete, because you might one day be 13, you get beat off somebody who's 13 and nearly 14, but you know what? It doesn't really matter, because that's part of your journey to be a senior swimmer. And if you go 59.5 and somebody goes 59.2 and beats you and he's nearly a year older, it doesn't matter, because it's all part of you and your progress. Look at your time and just think it's your journey to being a senior athlete. And you know what? Just take it on the chin. If you get beat off somebody on the day who's nearly a year older, that's all right. That's sport, and it happens. Don't get too caught up in that, honestly.
But it's not always easy, is it?
The job as the coach and the job as the parent is just to try and reassure them that, you know, that outcome as being a senior swimmer, taking that little hit somewhere along the line, it could even make you better. Because if you get used to winning too early, it's, you know, James will tell you that sometimes the guys who are winning everything early are not the ones who are around later, because they just get used to it. And I just think it might help to keep them hungry. It might help to keep them, you know, getting the bronze and always hunting for the silver and the gold. And it's honestly, if we can reassure them as parents and coaches, I think that's all right. It's honestly looking down, that's fine. Honestly, I just think, let's not try and get them to win at all costs when they're 11, 12, 13. It's just let's do all the work, the technical skills, the base, and let's prepare them for senior swimming. And I think taking a little hit like that every so often is fine. You get great swimmers and Olympic champions coming from both. You get some Olympic champions like a Phelps, who was winning everything at 12, and a Ryan Lochte winning everything at 12, but they've gone on to still be doing it 15 years later at the very top level. So you can do it that way, but there's loads of other swimmers who were not getting the medals when they were 12 and 13 or 14. But I tell you what, it makes them hungry, and if they're still around when they're 18 or 19, a lot of the team is made up from them people who weren't winning everything as an age group swimmer. Honestly, you see them. If you look at the World Championship team now, probably 70% of them were not winning when they were under 16. But you know what? It makes them really hungry and really appreciative of winning when they're 18, 20 and 24. But that's not, you know, if people are winning when they're young, that's great, because it can come from both areas. But I would just, you know, work hard, never give up, and it's all about you and your journey. And if you can get the best that you can ever be, then hey, that might be a British team, it might be an Olympic medal, we don't know.
Dave, what's your view on the importance of drills?
You know, when people do drills, you've got all these fancy drills with fancy names and all different things. With my philosophy is, I like the swimmer to have 2 or 3 good drills. I want them to know why they're doing them and what they're trying to do. And sometimes people go on courses and come back and they've got these drills where, yeah, they're more of an entertainment thing, but I always stop them and just say, right, what is that doing to your stroke? Because it should be breaking the stroke down into small segments and getting them right. So it's simple things like catch up on freestyle. You know, it may be old school and a bit boring, but it's really, really good. And there's all these other things that are all fancy, but to me they're a bit more entertainment rather than the nitty-gritty getting the stroke right. So I always stop the swimmer and say, right, what's your drill and what are you doing it for? So they understand, oh, that's for me hand entry, that's for me body line, that's for me, you know, thumb first and things like that. It's just really important that they see it as it's a tool to get the main stroke better, rather than, oh, it fills 15 minutes of me time doing all this stuff. They really need to understand why they're doing it. It's dead important.
It's a difficult one, this, but what do you say to swimmers when they don't always get the results that they want?
You've got to ride it out. It's all part of the, you know, the journey. And I think, again, coming back to coaching, that's when you're tested as a coach, it's not, and that's what do you do with that athlete? Do you ignore them? That's not good enough, right? I'm not really working with you. No, you've got to bring these guys back and explain to them that in your journey, whether it be 10 years, 12 years, 15 years as a swimmer, there'll be times when you hit rock bottom. And there might be a few times when you hit rock bottom. I've got some guys in my group at the minute who this year haven't got where they were last year. And they question themselves and they wonder why they're doing it. And do they quit or do they change programs? And it happens everywhere. It happens at age group, club level, national level. And you've got to ride out the storm, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And them age groups, the 15, 16 girls, the 17, 18 boys, without doubt will question themselves, do they really want to swim? Do they really want to get up at 5 in the morning? Do they want to swim 9 times a week? Do they want to do 3 weekends at swim meets? Everybody will have their problems, and it's just riding it out. And it'll happen to everybody, without doubt.
Now, the head coach, Bill Furness, seems to be sharply focused on swimmers that will perform.
He wants real good quality and not quantity. And I think he's introduced that at the senior end, and he's took that down into the junior and the youth level. The reason he'd done it at the senior level was we had too many people who would say we had an Olympic trials, and they're seeing it as the highlight of their career was to go to the Olympics. They weren't really thinking, right, what do we do when we're at the Olympics? And we might, in the past Olympics that I've been to, we might have had a team of 30, and 5 of them went in there with a real good chance of a medal. And the other 25, to be honest, were happy to be part of the team, and that was the highlight. I'm an Olympian, I've gone to the Olympics, but them 25 people that can pull down on them 5 people who were really trying to get a medal. And I think Bill's seen that we don't want to just take people to get 23rd in the 100 freestyle or to get 17th here. We want to take people who could be finalists, at the worst a semi-finalist. And I know that's tough because, you know, years gone by, I would say, you know, these young swimmers coming through, let's let them experience an Olympic Games when they're 17. I took Joanne Jackson to Athens in 2:04. She qualified on a 4:06 at the trials, and she went 4:13 at the Olympics. 17 years old, crying her eyes out, wanted to quit. You know, at the time, oh, I want to quit, I don't like this. She then went on to get a bronze medal 4 years later because, to me, she needed that experience of what it was like. So the next 4 years, going to the Olympics, she knows what to expect. And she was ready when she was 21. She wasn't ready at 17. I think the first time he'd done it was the European short course in 2:13. We took a team of 11, but everybody was ranked top 6 in the world. And I think out of them, 9 swimmers got medals. So it was like, I remember talking to the swimmers before I went down for final session. And I thought, wow, what a great group of swimmers. It's only 11, but they're all top quality swimmers. There's nobody here to make the numbers up. There's nobody going to finish 28th. And I just think it worked, and we've done really well as a nation with top quality swimmers, so we've took that up.
And it's important that the coach really cares about the development of the swimmers, and the swimmers know that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's huge, and I think as they get older and a bit more wise, I think it's probably even more. I just think, I'm going to walk somebody down to the call room, and we've trained all year for this Olympic final, and they need to look into my eyes and know that I'll do anything that I can to get them on the podium. And I think, you need that, them few minutes as they're going to go around are just so critical, because they're looking to you for everything, and you haven't got to be able to put it on, or it's an act, or it's just a job. I think if I seen it just as a job, they would see through it. But I think they want to see that passion, they want to see that drive, they want to look at me and get that belief that actually he thinks I can do something special out here. And I think if it was just a job, or the trust wasn't there, that wouldn't be there. And I think that goes back, that's going into a call room, but on a daily basis. 10 sessions a week, big mileage, gym, it's a bit of a drag sometimes. Somebody needs to drive the ship, and that coach has to be that one that has the trust, can take them on a journey, and they'll do it because, the coach wants them to. And I think if that trust and that belief isn't there, I think it'll break down a little bit, and I think sessions will be missed, and I think, they'll be going the wrong way a little bit, and I just think it's such a tough sport that we've got to be really tight. And I think, if I go in and say, guys, that isn't good enough, we're doing it again and going on the top, they've got to not think, slam the goggles down, question it. They've got to think, coach thinks that when we're off, when do we go? And I think that's when you know that you've got them. And you do need to get them. And sometimes, they fall off a little bit, but honestly, you need to get them, and you need to take them on a journey. And it's right from that age group. As we said about how hung up they are about, somebody's a bit older and things like that. That can be stopped if the coach is telling them, actually, that's not a problem. That's great. You're racing somebody older. That's going to help you. They're the sort of messages that you have to give. So, right, as coaching the 12-year-old, the trust thing has to be there, because actually, I can stop how they think. Because if he thinks that's bad, I can intervene and I can make him think that's a good thing. Bring on them. Let's race somebody 2 years older. Change how they see things. That's coaching. So, trust, massive.
Now, we've got a lovely 50-metre pool here, but you don't need a 50-metre pool to be successful, do you? I mean, what do you think about long course versus short course training?
I mean, it's a great question. First of all, I would say don't worry too much about it, because there's some great swimmers in Great Britain who never swam long course. Rebecca Addington didn't really swim long course. She done 2 sessions a week at Loughborough, that was it, but very late in her career. I was at a 25-metre pool for 17 years as a coach. All me club coaching was short course. We used to go away on camps a little bit, whether it just be Leeds or Edinburgh and stuff, to experience what long course was like. A lot of the Americans swim short course yards all season, or really from September to about April. And you could look at it and think, actually, for turns, for underwaters and things like that, you're better off being short course, because some of them are great short course swimmers because they're doing that much turns and push-offs. I think long course is a luxury, but it's not an essential. It's not. If you're not getting any short course, I would say, have your little camps here, there and everywhere, long course pool. Somewhere like this is great. If you get a week's long course.
I was wondering that was coming. A good one.
But
love his beers later.
When I was in my home club, we had no. I think it was 80 miles either to Edinburgh or down to Leeds for little weekends away. Get some experience. But honestly, it's not everything. Long course is not everything. There's some great swimmers. They reckon Kate Ledecky, she comes from a short course background. I'm not sure if she still is, but she used to be. And like I say, in Britain, Rebecca Addington, who got our 2 gold medals, she was short course all of her career, and probably the last 3 years she'd done 2 long course a week, and that's it. And again, as coaches, it's up to us to tell the athlete, look, that's not a problem. You can do all right there. You don't have to be doing long course, and you've got to get the swimmer to believe that. You can't allow the swimmer to think that they're, not as good as them because they're going long course, we're not. That's coaching. That's what it's about. And it's down to the coach to explain it. But I would say if you're at short course every year, you need a few camps along the way.